Good evening, Razorbacks. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk podcast presented to you by FanDuel, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are coming to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. And on tonight's show, we will recap the loss to Ole Miss, talk about some other college football games, and look ahead to the Memphis Tigers. But Adam, the tone Pinto and half of Razorback Nation says Hog's gonna hog, and that's exactly what they did. They had a position to win the game, and a fumble there at the very end of the game sealed the deal for Ole Miss. But overall thoughts, surprises, disappointments that you had from this game on Saturday.
It's one of those things that you and I didn't pick Arkansas to win this game, but obviously we still want Arkansas to win these games. The first half, what was it, 28-21, I believe it was the score. We were close there. It was never a blowout. And honestly, it was one of those that when we were down double digits in the fourth, I'm sitting here like this game is done. This team doesn't. They've never shown any reason to believe that they would come back. And that's what we've all been waiting for. And props to Talon, because he made some plays on that final drive. I mean, if it wasn't for the unfortunate fumble, like that pass he made, I believe it was a 20 or 30 yard pass that he just threaded in there. To set up the play that ended up being the fumble. That was a throw I didn't think Talon was capable of. Because we've seen too often that he either throws behind receivers or he throws too high. And to thread that in there to where only the receiver could get it, I mean, kudos to him. I think right now he leads the country in all-purpose yards or close to it or something. It's a tough loss. We go back on some of these games and we're like, oh, we would have rather been blown out than a heartbreak loss. But this is one of those things that, like, I don't put any of this on the offense. Yeah. Even with the fumble, this was, in my opinion, solely on the defense. And then you got to look at the kicker too. I know he's a freshman. To go into that type of environment is big, but 2 missed field goals and you lose by 6. Those things kind of don't sit well at the end of the day.
Yeah, and for me, it was, again, offense was, played lights out. Taylon Green was doing everything he could to really, every time Ole Miss would bring pressure, he was either standing up in the pocket, throwing, or he was throwing on the run or running. They just did not have a way to stop him. And that was the biggest fear. We said, all right, how many teams are they going to be able to outscore? That's what they're going to have to do the rest of the way. How many teams, when you look at the remaining schedule, can they outscore? And, I was contemplating that and looking at it, and I don't see any other teams that we have I have as losses that now I feel like they can outscore just because of how bad their defense played. And when I say defense, linebackers, secondary, you had a D2 quarterback. Yes, he won a national championship last year for Ferris State, but to me, he was just lobbing the ball up there, and they were floating, and they just were either out of position or couldn't get there quick enough. It to me was, I don't know. I wouldn't call it effort because they were going after the ball, but there was a couple of times where, of course, refs and we seen plays, the pass interference call that was not a pass interference call, and then there was plays by the refs where you kind of scratched your head. But the telltale sign for me with the defense is when you bring in Austin Simmons, dude is hobbling on a bad ankle, and he converts a 3rd and 8, and then easy pass to score the touchdown. I hate it for the offense. I hate it for Taylon Green that it ended the way it did because they were going down to score. But another thing, we're talking about the kicker, but I want to talk about the first half of the game. you scored too quickly. And I know we'll talk about this here in a minute. Sam Pittman got asked about his one possession games. Well, when you take in the fact of you left way too much time, I know they skated out with just getting a field goal. But if you know your offense is that potent and you trust your offense so much, run some time off the clock. Don't give them a chance to score knowing they get the ball at the start of the second half. And then you've just seen, they had it. The one time they needed to stop, they got it. So got to give them flowers on that end of it. They did stop when they needed to, gave the offense a chance to, but you are you're making it to where your offense has to be perfect. And that's what scares me with this team is how long can they? We've seen it, how many years we've seen it where the defense just gets tired throughout the year. When is this going to start happening to the offense where they're tired of just carrying this team because the defense keeps letting them down?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one thing, we've kind of brought up the last couple of weeks, and I know I've been kind of strong on it. I feel like that. Is it Travis Williams or is it the secondary coach Wilson? I mean, it's one of those things that the finger kind of has to be pointed at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not gonna. What do you do if players underperforming? You bench them. And we're sitting here, and Sam said in the press conference yesterday, talking about things they would have to look at with the defense, and I'm kind of over it. Like this is, in my opinion, and I was talking to a friend last night, and I kind of made these same comments, and he thinks that he doesn't share my same sentiments, which you don't have to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't see how you can look at this defense last year or this year and think that we had a good defense. I don't believe we did last year. And I definitely don't believe we do now. I don't really have any answers for this defense at this point. It's just, can you stop the bleeding at any point? I mean, get one stop, get, two stop, whatever the case may be, because, like we've talked about, and even some of the defenses for Arkansas back when Bobby Petrino was head coach. I mean, it was a matter of, we just had to outscore the other team because defense was more or less non-existent. And, after the first week or two around the SEC, we were all kind of like, wow, defense as a whole for the SEC is kind of suspect. But we kind of saw yesterday, in some cases, yes. I mean, the Georgia-Tennessee game, I mean, you had upwards of both teams having almost 500 yards of total offense each. But even the Texas A&M Notre Dame game, I mean, 41-40 or whatever that final score was.
Yeah.
You're seeing big scores like that, and I think this is truly going to be who has the best offense. Mm-hmm. It's no longer who has the best defense. It's who has the best offense in the SEC.
Yeah. And the comment right here, if our defense matched our offense, we would be a dang good team. If your defense matched your offense, you'd be a top 10 team. I'm seeing so much around the college football landscape that it's wide open. There is no clear cut number one team in the country. There is no clear cut. This team, you really look 1 through 5 and they have a chance to win the national championship. And that changes from week to week. I mean, you're seeing teams that are ranked. Look at Notre Dame, still ranked 25th and they're 0-2, which is crazy. I guess another AP voter voted that, but and I'm drinking Pepsi, not drinking Kool-Aid, but for real, if the defense matched the offense, this would be a top 10, if not a top 5 team, because they are just that good on offense. And if they had the defense where you now know, okay, if we can get 2 stops a half or trade field goals for touchdowns, you would have beat Ole Miss by 21 points. Now, don't quote me as saying that's an excuse or well, if this would have happened. I'm just explaining the comment. That's just how good the offense is. They are using, and everybody looked at last year with the O-line. Look what happens when you have an O-line that blocks. How many times did they throw it to a tight end last night? How many times did you see the running back sprinting out of the backfield and going to catch the ball or just running a route because he didn't have to sit there and block because the O-line couldn't block to save their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the biggest improvement for me coming into this season that I've seen after 3 games is that O-line blocking the way they did against Ole Miss. And you can see with Mike Washington breaking off for that big run, you open up some holes, you can make some big plays. So, yeah. And the whole after the game, Sam Pittman, I don't know. I mean, that's where we talked about before we started recording is I was, ready to pretty much be a Sam Pittman defender after the game and be like, look, that's on the defense. That's on the depth. Or I was even at the point of, like I said this morning, you have the budget for a half of a football team, and that's what you have. You have a half of a football team, and that's your offense. You don't have a defense.
Mm.
But then the press conference comes, and first question out the gates, the 7 and 18, and you have to put some of it on his shoulders. And when he's saying things like that, I don't know what to do. You're 6 years in. You should know what to do by now, or at least say something. Even if you don't know what to do, don't say you don't know what to do. You're the leader of this team. You're getting paid millions of dollars to coach this football team. You should have some kind of idea what's going on.
I've got that clip here. We'll play right quick, though. I've got 2 clips. There's that one, and then there's another one. He just kind of talks more about the defense and some other things. But we'll start with the initial, you're now 7 and 18. What's going on question.
Courtesy of Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I mean, I don't know what I do with it. Tell me what to do. I mean, I don't know what to do.
Curious for you, how do you believe that this team will learn from the loss tonight and to hopefully, flip the script moving forward in the next couple of weeks?
I don't know. I mean, they're hurt, which is a good thing. It means something to them, which is a good thing. So when you have that, they'll go back to work and they'll do a good job with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those you could have left the I don't know out of it and still answered the question in the same manner.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's one of those that I get it. He's frustrated. The players are hurt. I mean, you saw the tears on the sideline after the fumble. It's one of those things that nobody wants to go in there and lose. None of these players want that. Of course they want to do it. Of course they're mad. Of course they're pissed off, hurt, whatever. But, like we've talked about before, it's one of those things that how are you going to bounce back? You're on the road against Memphis. Are you going to smack Memphis about, or are you going to lay down and poor pitiful me? Who knows what's going on with Talon at this point? He was limping around. At times we had to wonder if they were going to bring in KJ Jackson, if we were going to see a Malachi Singleton situation like we saw last year. But it's one of those things. Talon finished the game. I don't know when it comes to injuries, especially with Talon or any other high profile on Arkansas's team. I don't know what to believe with whatever they tell us, just based on like what we got before this season with like the strength and conditioning coach, and we don't know how injured he actually was, and comments like that. I'm just kind of like, you can tell me whatever at this point in time, and I'm not necessarily going to believe. I'll believe it whenever I see Talon on or off the field.
Yeah, and go ahead.
No, that's all I had on it.
And I'm looking up right now, heading into the game. This is as of Friday, September 12th. I mean, this is another thing that, yes, we can look at this Ole Miss team and look at, yes, it's an SEC team. But when you look at Ole Miss, I mean, they ranked 113 in rush defense. Granted, it was through 2 games, but still yet. And I don't see their name in the top 50 of pass. I'm just looking through. Let's see what they rank, or they did rank. I know that's going to drop because of what Talon Green did against them. But this is not, the point I'm making, this is not one of those elite defenses in the SEC. So this isn't the best defense that we're going to see all year. And I'm still looking for them. And they're not in the 100s. But anyways, that's what worries me, because when you look down the road, where are they going to be? How many other elite defenses are they going to go up against down the road? And when you see Taylor Green do that. Now, next week, Memphis, I really honestly think that Memphis does not have the firepower to stay with Arkansas. I know, courtesy of FanDuel, the opening line is 6.5. I really think Arkansas wins this one by 21. I just think they're that good on offense. And I don't think Ole Miss or Memphis is going to be able to do to the defense what Ole Miss did. Now, granted, we seen a D2 quarterback and a backup on a one leg just carve the defense. So we'll see what happens. It is away again at Memphis, but just from my perspective of how good this offense looks, I see Arkansas winning this pretty handily.
And, some frustration during the game, I believe, was it the first half, into the first half? When Ole Miss, or Arkansas, actually, Ole Miss was attempting to score. And they actually scored on like 2 or 3 consecutive plays. But because of flags, penalties, whatever, kept getting – and something like that, I'm like, how demoralizing is that to sit there? Like, you let them essentially score 2 to 3 times in a row. And, with, I remember, which I think I have it in the second clip here, Coach Pittman was talking about some of the adjustments that they had to make at halftime defensively and this, that. And granted, we all thought, I think, that this game was going to go into the 50s by the way the first half was. And, well, you may have made some defensive adjustments. I guess Ole Miss did too, because it's one of those things that I felt like both teams were just kind of not shell-shocked, but almost came out flat in the second half, in which, it's one of those things. Both teams, they punted 1 time each, which I got kind of tired of hearing that from the announcers, like nobody's punted, the first punt of this, not been any turnovers, whatever. It's kind of one of those things when it comes to like kickers. Stop talking about stuff like that. Like, don't talk about a kicker being automatic, because then he misses. Saying that about Stars, will bring me to this. Does him missing those 2 field goals change Sam Pittman's outlook the rest of the season, or at least the next few games, if you're put into a situation that, you're looking at a 45+ yard field goal that you flirt with, do we go for it on 4th down because we don't trust our kicker now?
To me, it varies, and this is crazy that I'm going to say it, home or away. Because you got to look at the momentum swing. What gives the other team a bigger momentum swing? Missed field goal or a stop? And to me, yes, they kind of go a little crazy because you missed a field goal. But if you go for it and they stop you, to me, that pumps up the defense a little bit more, carries over to the offense. The crowd goes nuts, and it gives them a little bit more oomph, other than just a missed field goal. But still, if you want to build confidence, he's got to do it in practice. But you kind of got to throw him out there, because if you don't, then when you do really need him, you didn't trust him in the second quarter. Now you're having to put him out there. That's all on the kicker. The kicker's got to get his mind right. You're a D1 kicker. You've got to get your mind right. And he's done it. How was that? 50, what was his field goal last week? 50-something yarder?
Well, he didn't kick any against Arkansas State. The first game, he kicked a 53-yarder.
53-yarder, yeah, first game. So we know he can do it. So I don't know. It's 6 and 1 and half a dozen the other when it comes to that, because if you fail both, you're giving the team that momentum of they stopped you, they held you to a field goal. And even if they do hold you to a field goal, they kept your offense knowing that Arkansas is coming into this game. We have to outscore you. We have to almost score a touchdown every time we touch the ball. So either or, a field goal, missed field goal, turnover, and downs is a win for the other team until I see differently from the defense.
I mean, top to bottom, both teams were more or less, equal. If you look at Arkansas had 30 first downs, Ole Miss had 25. Arkansas was 9 of 12 on third downs. Ole Miss 8 of 12. 526 total yards to 475. It was just. Now granted, we had over 100 yards more rushing. Penalties were both 7 for 68, 7 for 63. So it's just truly. The two missed field goals and the fumble, and it sucks. It's tough, but how you hope that, and I believe, I think a lot of how Sam Pittman is in press conferences, you would think that it's 6 years in, you would get comfortable with it, but maybe, he's just still uncomfortable with it, doesn't know how to answer on the spot questions, whatever the case may be. I imagined going into practice tomorrow and everything that I'm not saying he's always going to have the right thing to say to the players, but it's going to be, okay, we've got to focus. Forget about that. We've got to focus on Memphis. It's just, I hope for the players' sake that he's a little bit more straightforward, point blank period. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to fix. Defense, you have problems. Offense, here's where I see. Because, we've been harping on the offensive line for multiple seasons now. Yes, they had a good showing yesterday. I just hope it was not just because Ole Miss's defense is that terrible, but the jury will still be out on that. But I'm going to play that other clip before we go to break here in about a minute and a half. Yeah, here we go.
We got to communicate better. The 2 or 3 of the scores in the first half, we just had cut guys wide open, couldn't cover a back. We were checking to check, lanes checks, and we cut all that out in the second half because we had to give our guys a chance, and we didn't open field tackle very well, especially in the first half. Couldn't cover a back, and didn't put pressure on the quarterback, So those were some of the things at half that we certainly talked about and in the first half. And then, I don't think there's anybody in the room that didn't think we was going to win the game at the end of the game. We just had a turnover. And I've taken Jalen already aside. It ain't his – that's certainly not his fault that we lost the game. He's not he certainly feels terrible about it, but I wanted to talk to him about it because he's made a lot of good plays for us in our first 3 games, and we've got to hold on to that ball. He understands that, but there's a ton of stuff in that game we could have done better that we'd have won the game, and I'm sure they feel the same way over there as well.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that he did, and this is the softer side of Sam. He did take him, and then it's a tough loss. He compartmentalized that, took him to the side, said, "Look, that's not all on you. Don't make you feel like you cost us the game because again, you're forcing the offense to be perfect." And I think that's what you have to address going into this week. You have to go in there and say, "All right, defense, we need y'all to step up." That's just what has to happen. And, Neal for Arkansas has been one of the bright spots for that defense, Julian Neal. So, Steven Dix came up with some big plays there, run game. The D-line, I give them a B, I think. Outside of that, F, pretty much the rest of the defense. Offense, A+, So, it was an all-around C game because, they had a chance to win, and that's what's crazy about this offense is they are that good. Outside of how frustrated I was with the game, you kind of come out of it feeling a little bit better, but still, you could have a top 10 offense and still win only 5 games because your defense is playing that poorly. So, we'll see. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. After the break, we'll talk about some other scores from around the country and talk, just touch on Memphis a little bit, preview them, what our thoughts are coming into that game, and we'll talk to you after the break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast, presented to you by FanDuel. And now we take a look at some other scores from around the SEC. Some really, really good games. I know that Georgia-Tennessee game was going on at the start of the Arkansas game, but that battle, you're talking about kickers, missed field goal by Tennessee. But what were some surprising scores from yesterday that you seen, Adam?
I think one of the big things wasn't so much the score, because I picked, I thought LSU was going to win that game, but I think Flagway had 5 interceptions for Florida, which was huge. I didn't expect the Georgia-Tennessee game to be like it was. 44. I didn't expect both teams to be in the 40s or have 500 yards total offense each. Arch Manning getting booed by the Texas crowd. It's one of those things. They're done with it. I expected Notre Dame to win. I didn't want them to come into Fayetteville with 2 losses, but they're going to. But all in all, I think the biggest thing yesterday was Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
that Vanderbilt South Carolina game. I mean, Mizzou, I think, had 2 rushers over 100. One of them was over 250 yards, which is ridiculous. But Vanderbilt, I think, takes the cake for the weekend.
Yeah. The Vanderbilt. I mean, Theo Vaughn was promised a date with Pavia's mom, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you talk about another coach that just can't handle press conferences. I mean, Brian Kelly. I mean, look, I can't stand the guy. I think he's overrated. I don't, he hasn't won a national championship yet. has yet to make the college football playoff with LSU. You have all that talent, and Lagway throws 5-6 interceptions, you win 20-10. And then when somebody talks about it, he gets all upset. Well, I mean, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're a top tier program. Auburn only beating South Alabama 31-15 kind of sticks out a little bit because, again, when we're looking at teams moving down the road, you see Mizzou scoring 52, Mississippi State 63. They're a surprise team. So here's what I want to say about that. We have that Mississippi State game as a win for Arkansas. All right. So if you flip-flop, you still got to win that Mississippi State game. So you could pick up another win. You could beat a Notre Dame, or you could beat an A&M. I don't see any team that's scoring 40 points let's just call out both teams. A&M, Notre Dame, 40 points. Tennessee, 41 points. Are you going to be able to score 45 to 50 on those three teams? So, but that's where you're getting yourself. When you look down the road, Missouri, they scored 52. Yes, it was Louisiana Lafayette. But your defense is like a Lafayette defense. I don't know. I think this might be one of the craziest years to have this offense be as potent as it is and not even make a bowl game. I don't know if we'll ever have seen it yet, that the offensive team is this good, doesn't make a bowl game.
Ooh. I don't
But
have
it's possible.
It's 100% possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it firsthand yesterday. The possibility of these things. You're in these games, and your defense essentially, it's tough. It's tough to sit here and know that is a strong possibility. It's tough when, like I picked Arkansas to go 5-7, but like I said earlier, you still want this team to succeed. You still want them to prove me wrong. I still want to I have to go eat crow because they've, turned things around or whatever. I just don't know what it's going to take for I don't think the defense has it in them. Whether it's depth, whether it's the players, I just think that all around there are issues. I mean, is it a coaching issue? Is it a talent issue? Is it a combination of all of it? We brought in however many new defensive players this year. Xavier Sori was supposed to be the leader of this, Cam Ball. And I just feel like that. There was a few times yesterday, like Sori was just out of position, completely out of position. And, like Coach Pittman brought up about them, missing open field tackles. Like it was atrocious at some points, that whether it was them getting beat on simple moves and coverage, or just flat out not being able to tackle somebody, or a simple juke getting them out of position. It's just, you have to go back to the basics. And, one of the comments bringing out communication that should have been taken care of a fall camp or whatever. You're being in position and being out of position, that should have been taken care of in fall camp too. You should not be able to, like a simple one-step juke should not throw you off completely off the game. And it did yesterday, multiple times.
Yeah. And you look down the road. We brought up this defense and who they're going to stop. We have Memphis as a win. We have Auburn, Mississippi State as wins. And then after that, maybe Texas. But we don't know what Texas is going on down there. But again, if I say, all right, let's flip-flop, you win Texas, but can you beat Mississippi State? Can you beat Auburn? Because you would have to win both of those games and then a loss at Texas, or a win at Texas. There's 5 wins, 6 wins. If you beat Memphis, that puts you at 3 wins. And then if you could pick up 3 more SEC wins. But I just, to me, when we look at the whole grand scheme of what's going on with this program, and we talk about being proud of, $16 million and we're competitive, but when you see the defenses that's out there and the money, and Hunter Yurchek's wanting to put a video board out there, they don't have naming rights for their stadium. His eye is on those things right now. And NIL on the raffle. There's a lot of things going on. And if they really truly think that they say they have plenty of resources, but yet they're saying, well, this new structure is supposed to put an even playing field with everybody. And that's not what's going to happen. And you're naive to think that 16 million is going to field you a football team. You got to double that. You have to. That's what worries me. And what worries me is what I said in my opening statement is, how long is this offense going to stay 100% mentally and physically, knowing that they are carrying this team on their back? How exhausting is that going to be when you need, like what happened last night, you need that late fourth quarter drive? Because there is still some concerns about Taylor Green and his pocket presence overall. There was a couple of passes that should have been intercepted. There's a couple of passes that he sailed on them. He's getting better. He has progressed, but he still has work to do. He's just very, very dangerous with his legs. And I cannot remember what coach it was that was talking about it, but he was saying that if it was Sark, he was talking about Arch Manning. And if the kid gets comfortable, and this is what we almost said about, or not almost, this is what we said about Taylor Green last year. If you get to the point where you can beat with somebody with your legs and that's all you do, as soon as you see something go wrong, you try to outrun them, then you get caught from behind or get hit and get taken out of the game. That's only going to get you so far. You have to have the pocket presence and get better at that throw, because you never know if that guy for Ole Miss, I think he almost had 2 picks, just let it slip right through his hands. That's something you look down the schedule, you can't have. The offense is going to have to be perfect until this defense steps up.
And that, that's, I'm not saying that they're going to be or going to not be. I feel like the offense has to put this complete team on their back.
Yeah.
It's going to take that, before. And I feel like some last year, it was a matter of keeping the offense on the field so that the defense could have a break. And that was an issue at times. And, now it's, we're seeing 3, 4, 5-minute drives. And it was funny. We were, the guys I was watching the game with yesterday, it was amazing to me to see on both sides, because, Ole Miss was king of the hurry up so long. And then, the players faking injuries to slow down the other. We didn't see that. Well, we saw one that we suspected yesterday. I think it was on that last drive for Arkansas.
Well, remember the first of the game when Arkansas player had a guy down, and the irony of Lane Kiffin trying to go out there and tell the refs to take the timeout away from him. I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, the irony of him wanting them to enforce a flop rule or the new rule when it comes to injuries. I mean, I thought that was comical. He really wanted them to take a timeout away from them. And then he, if I'm not mistaken, he had a 10-second runoff. Was it at the end of the first half? He had a 10-second runoff because of a guy that got injured.
Mm.
So
I don't remember when it was, but and something too that shouldn't have, I feel like should have been a penalty on Ole Miss when the basketball ended up on the field. I mean, that should have been a delay of game or whatever penalty you want to give them. But what did y'all do? You took it, you threw it to Lane Kiffin. He put his arm out like a basketball hoop, and y'all just laughed it off. Like that, any other place, that's a penalty.
And he was laughing. Like you could see the ref smiling as he threw it, like he thought it was funny. So they celebrated, and I guess they couldn't dunk for it. I mean, it seemed like every time they showed him trying to dunk after something big, they missed it.
Well, you do something like that in baseball out of the dugout, somebody's ejected from the game. And I'm just sitting here like, there's no penalty here. Like, what are we doing? It's rookie hour. It's just, it got there. And that's, kind of being nitpicky or whatever. It's one of those things that rather be a basketball than something green that's getting thrown on fields at other games. If you don't know, now you know. Just go look it up. But, and I didn't see, I tried last night to go back and see what happened to Kanai at the end of the game, or when he was down for 12 minutes. I couldn't find it. And it's one of those that it doesn't need to be out there. I'm just curious. I probably could have just rewound the TV,
Yeah.
but I wasn't thinking about that at that point in time. But I will say this just for the sake of being able to say it. But I went on Twitter post game, and I'm not going to call out usernames or anything like that. It's probably still out there. You can go find it just by searching Kenai Walker's name on Twitter. But to come out and start talking about players faking injuries and that he was faking an injury because he's terrible or he's this or he's that, like, go touch grass.
Yeah.
Get off your devices. And I mean, he was carted off the field. He was down for 12 minutes. Stop being keyboard warriors and trolls, because it's not cute. It's not funny. And it's one of those things that you feel cool in the moment doing it, but guess what? Like, it's one of those things that eventually karma's going to come around, and just do better, because it's gross to see.
Because Ole Miss players were coming over there. I mean, granted, when that whistle blows or everything, they want to beat you. They want to come over there and talk smack. It's a competitive part of the game. But even in that moment, they made sure. I seen a couple of them go up there, and kudos to the Ole Miss fans. Kudos to the players that did go over there and give him a dap. Say, hey man, we got you, praying and stuff. That's what you want to see. All right, put the ball down. Let's go. We're going back to our competitive spirit. But in that moment, I really like to see that. Because you don't want to see anybody get hurt, and for you to be mad at the team, and then that's where you want to go with that. There's no place for that. Keep those thoughts to yourself. I mean, I seen it multiple times. People were sitting there saying it wasn't just the one you're referring to. I mean, it was multiple people. Oh, I heard he was faking it. It's on this message board that he was just trying to get out of there because he was playing. I mean, if that's truly what happened, let that be on his conscience. It's not for you to come on and add on and kick a dog while it's down because you want to try to be funny and be a troll. It's not cute at all.
And especially the ones that hide behind fake profile pictures and like whatever else. Like, maybe you just live that side of a life. Maybe you have nothing else to do in your life but that. But at the same time, it's kind of like, go put that energy into something else that's a lot more useful, because being a social media troll, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Moving on, again, moving away from that. Memphis is coming into the game averaging 37 points a game, 14 points off turnovers. And they're only giving up 11. Granted, I think we're going to see a similar situation that Arkansas seen against Ole Miss. You look at Memphis's schedule and who they've played. They played Chattanooga. They won 45-10, Georgia State 38-16, and then beat Troy 28-7. Troy's a good team, but still yet it's, but then again, you look at what Arkansas did, Arkansas State, and then you see what Arkansas State against Iowa State. I mean, you start doing these comparisons. Well, this team played against this team better than, and it just gets into a tangled mess. But they haven't been tested yet. So what happens when you run into this gauntlet offense of Arkansas and they come out? This is where the ones that, we talked about last game. Arkansas, we said Arkansas needs to get the ball first. I think you do everything in your power to do the exact opposite this go round. You make Memphis show they could score on you. And I know the defense is having it struggle, and they're probably going to have some success. Memphis is not a slouch. I just don't think they can keep up with Arkansas on this one. I don't think they can score quick enough. And again, if you defer, you win the toss. Now you are, in essence, putting that pressure on Memphis to make sure they're getting some kind of score before the half if it is a back and forth battle. Because, again, the line, they got this close, 6.5-point game. So in reality, it being away, they're thinking Arkansas could win this game 10 to 14 points. Over under right now is 62.5. So over is 63 if you want to win some money on that.
Yeah, just looking at and it's tough when you just do like side-by-side stat comparisons, player to player, just because the level of competition. But 11 a.m. game on ABC apparently is what they're showing us.
Yes.
So, this is one of those that you should win handily. I don't think that there's going to be any issues there. I think you need to go in this with a chip on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go in there and play. I mean, I would honestly look at it like, I'm not saying that Memphis is better. Well, is Memphis better than Arkansas State? Arkansas State played a hell of a game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, even Alabama A&M, you look at about the day that quarterback had, he threw for, I think, 300 something yards.
So you've got to use a game like this to figure out your defense. Like I said, I don't have really a whole lot negative to say about the offense. So at this point, it's all on the defense. It's all on the special teams, because we've still yet to see anything out of the special. I mean, yesterday I think there was one that Cam Shanks tried on a punt return to return, and then ended up going backwards a little bit. And I'm just sitting here like we don't know how to block on punt returns. And so it's one of those that you've got to use a game like this to find something on your defense and special teams that works, because nothing else is right now.
Yeah, Arkansas's got to find a way to win and build on momentum. You're taking 2 steps forwards, 1 step back. All right, go in there and figure this game out. Get your defense going. Look, I could be totally underestimating Memphis, and I apologize right now to the Memphis faithful. I don't know much about your team, and I'm not trying to say this in a disrespectful way. I just don't know much about the Memphis offense, defense. But for what I'm seeing against what Arkansas is doing so far, they have a very potent offense, and I don't see a lot of teams outside of the SEC stopping them. Now, look, I'm not going to start saying, these Big Ten teams. I'm just talking about what we're playing right now, who's on the schedule. So if Arkansas comes out firing, they might want to go down there and get the ball first and 2-play score. Look what it did against Arkansas State. You go hit them in the mouth early, get a stop, and then you score again. Now you're up 14-0 with 10 minutes left before they even have a chance to see what's going on. Mm-hmm. So be a good game. I think they're going to win by 17, 21 points, but that's all. It's going to be all up on the defense, how they plan to attack Memphis in this one.
Mm-hmm. I think this is one that you should go into expecting to basically just dominate the game from start to finish. I don't think at any point in this game should you be, back against the wall against Memphis. The stadium, play it well. So it's one of those that just treat it like, don't look ahead to Notre Dame. Like we've said, week to week here, don't look ahead to the next game. Just go fix your issues. That's all you can do at this point.
Yeah. And if I was a betting man, you look at a 6.5 point favorite, I would take that and the over. Just, I think between both, I mean, even if Arkansas scores over 40, I think they're going to score over 40. So you're saying Memphis is going to score 20. That's fair. I would take the over on the points and Arkansas winning by more than 7. And that could go down. We don't know. Look at how much the line dropped from this opening line to the finished for FanDuel on the kickoff. I think it got down as low as 3 points. So they really knew something was going on with that quarterback. And that's for another story about the injury reports and all that stuff with Simmons that we can talk about later.
Yeah. And this question right here before we go, does the heat turn up on T-Will if the defense doesn't show marked improvement? Yeah. I mean, it's one of those that you look at position coaches and such, but it falls on the defensive coordinator. Just like if there was more offensive, issues, it falls on Bobby Petrino. So it's up to T-Will at this point on what are you going to do to fix it, whether it's your position coaches or whether it's the players that start.
You got to look at Sam. He, Kendall Browse did his thing, and Sam Pittman stood his ground, said, we're not going to deal with that. Kick rocks. Then there was heat on Barry Odom. And Sam blatantly said, and rightfully so, when you're put in that position, I don't blame him. Well, if it was me or him, I'm choosing him. And it's going to come to that same situation. It's going to come to the point where it's like, hey, look, you don't change something on your defense, it's you. And I think we're going to start seeing a trickling effect as things don't start changing with this football program. We'll touch more on that on Thursday's episode with the dominoes and just how far up the chain we think this could go. But if things start changing revenue wise, talent wise, coaching wise, there could be a couple of dominoes that could be falling. So
we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, don't forget, come back at 8:05 for Hog HQ Live. That will do it for this episode of the Hog Talk podcast, presented to you by FanDuel and Believe. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for all of our sponsors, and we'll catch you on Thursday.